Honey.
Hello.
Awesome.
You look so like lively. You look so like live.
I'm live.
So you do some of that flat trade, push that flat over the trade.
That's a large drum. That's a large drum. Okay, take one back. Kind of interesting.
How long are we going to do this for?
Half an hour.
No, just a few seconds, and then photographers, please withdraw, go sit down. Thank you very much. Bonjour à tous, hello everyone, et bienvenue à la conférence de presse de American Honey, and welcome to the press conference for American Honey. It doesn't work yet? It will.
They're heavy.
Allow me to introduce the people at this, well, I'll do some of the introductions. Sitting next to me, I'll quote just one film, The Witch, which was shown at Sundance in 2015 and came out in the States in 2016. What took you so long? Producer Lars Knudsen. At the far end, you saw him a couple of days ago with Ken Loach. He's been working as cinematographer with this director since Wasp. Cinematographer Robbie Ryan. In 2006 and 2000 and I think 8 or 9, I'm not sure, her first two shorts, Milk and Dog, were shown at the Critics Week in Cannes. Wasp, a couple of years later, got the Academy Award for Best Short. And her first feature films, Red Road First and Fish Tank, were both shown in competition here in Cannes. And got awarded by those year's juries. She is, if I may put it this way without sounding too reductive, she's a Cannes child, Andrea Arnold. And I will ask everybody else, starting from the young lady sitting next to Robbie.
Wow.
Sorry.
It's not the first time.
I'm blind as a bat.
No, it's good. It's
okay.
It's fine. Yes.
It's the hair.
It's fine.
To introduce yourselves and describe as shortly as you can the character that you play in the film.
Well, I play Cal, or Callium, and he's a quiet guy, and really not much else to say besides he's really quiet.
I play JJ. I'm really mean to everybody, but everybody's my friend, but I like talking crap about them.
I play Crystal, and she's kind of the boss of the money for the Mad Crew.
I'm Sasha Lane, and I play Star, and I'm a really free spirit, kind of naive one, and I just go on these little adventures, find myself. Yeah.
I'm Shia Labeouf. I play Jake. He's like the tour manager.
My name's McCaul Lombardi. I play Corey, and I'm kind of the rambunctious one out of the group that you'll see. Can't really say too much more. You'll see it, though.
See the whole... Go, who are you?
I am Cutie, and I'm just this badass bitch in the movie.
And the first question goes to you.
Well, Hollywood Elsewhere. I just want to say I am a huge fan of the film. I love the cinematography, the 1:37 aspect ratio, the deodorized animality of the whole thing. I thought it was wonderful. But the thing that was bothering me slightly was who in our digital iPad realm cares about magazine subscriptions in 2016?
It's a good question, and it is addressed in the film actually, but maybe it got slightly missed because I first came to this actually a few years ago, I guess before online took over a little bit. But there are crews that still are doing a lot of crews still doing that job. They are, and it's not really about. It's a bit like big issue sellers in England, or people, stop you and try and get you to buy things for charity. You're not really buying a magazine, you're buying the person who is selling you the magazine. And I think that's what... Whoa. Whoa. Was that me? No. And that's what it's... I mean, that's what you're selling. You're selling yourself. You're not selling a magazine. I think that's addressed in the film, I think. But sure, not many people do buy magazines anymore, so... Well, I don't know, do they? I don't, I know I don't, but...
Yeah.
They run into a crew.
Yeah, we did. We ran. I mean, the crew in the film that you see at the motel is a real crew. They happened to actually show up while we were filming there.
And they don't just sell magazines anymore. They sell saying we need money for our parents who died.
Yeah, they use all kinds of.
They've got a different story. It's not just about magazines. That's just where it started. Now there's a whole kind of type of people who go to door trying to get money in other ways. It's not a magazine as such.
The crew in the film, the people on that crew have been doing it for 10, 12 years. They're just travelling around America, doing door-to-door. All that crew in the film is a genuine crew. So,
And they're exactly the same.
And they just showed up while we were there, which
they're
was...
exactly the same as what Andrea had written, so it's pretty amazing.
Well, I hung out with the crew for a little bit, so before I started writing. Shia did also. So they exist. It's a sort of subculture that, does exist.
Had any of the actors ever lived that life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nadia. Nadia had done it. Yeah, Nadia. In the
She
film.
was doing it on the shoot as well, wasn't she?
She was actually, when I was sending them improvising selling, she was actually doing it and making money. I said they could keep any money they made. We sent everybody out to do some phone footage of them selling, and they were trying, you won, didn't you? Me? Didn't you make the most money? No, I think Verronikah.
I didn't make
yeah, they made the most money, I think. So if they don't want to act, they've got another career lined up. It's actually hard work.
It was.
Really hard work.
Well, we also went during the day when there wasn't a lot of people home.
Yeah.
Sasha
And there was one place, do you remember the estate where you all got they got the cops on you?
Yeah.
They got chased away by dogs and they were threatening to call the cops, and there would have been extra. I would have given you extra money if you'd got arrested. That would have been a good.
Good thing you didn't say that.
Go ahead.
Hi, Donald Clark from the Irish Times. I've got a question for Robbie Ryan. Robbie, well done. Like Marion Cotillard and Kirsten Stewart, you've got 2 films in the main competition this year, which is an achievement. Talk a bit about what that means to your career, and also just address a bit how much freedom you have to point the camera where you wish, and how much that's Andrea's decision, because I get the sense that you get a lot more freedom in a film like this than a cinematographer would usually.
I've never been compared to Marion Cotillard and Kirsten Stewart before, but work with Andrea is a very free-form sort of thing. We have our rules, but the rules are kind of chaotic in some ways and following chaos, and that's very much evident in this film. And, Sasha is the main character in the film, and we follow her where she goes and what she does, and it's as simple as that. But within that, it's complicated because life is kind of complicated. But it's very much a freestyle, for me, a very free and fun way to make cinematography, because it's as pure as you can get, because it's just a camera on a shoulder. And I know there's a lot of handheld films out there these days, but for some reason the way we do it, it kind of has a bit more poetry, and we really do care about the image and what we film. So yeah, I'm always very, very privileged to be on a film like this with Andrea, because she's brilliant.
Question here.
Yeah, hi. Hello, I'm Birger Vesmo from NRK, Norwegian Broadcasting. A question for the actors and actresses. To what extent did you take part in the creative process? Did you make up your own lines? Did you make up the situations? Can you describe that?
I think all of our personalities just like made it up as we went. She just was really big on telling us to be who we are, and would just tell us to go with it however you feel. So every single one of us, how we felt that day is what you would get. Absolutely. And I think we all were just like a big part of creating this with her. She was very open with it.
The question was asked to the actors.
That's a pretty good answer, though. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Question here.
Hi, Alex Rickman from The Hollywood Reporter. My question is to Shia. There's a couple of quite explicit sex scenes in the film, and I just wondered what you thought it was about yourself that made directors so enjoy putting you in these sex scenes.
I don't think they do, actually. I mean, I don't think I ever get hired for sex scenes. I promise you. Yeah, I mean, this is. I don't know what's in the movie because I haven't seen it, but it sure wasn't filmed like a sex scene. So I don't even know what sex scene you're talking about. I mean, probably in the woods, I would imagine, but that didn't feel that way. That was a long scene. That's a big, long scene. There's a lot going on.
A question to Andrea. How did the project come together? Initially, if I understood what was told to me, the idea came from a piece published in the New York Times.
It was a sort of article describing the world of the Mad Cruise, and the story. There was no story there or anything. That was just, everything from then on was my imagination and partly what I learned. So that was the nugget of that started me off wanting to do something about it.
But that also meant for you to just go to the United States, which is an entirely different planet, as it were.
Yeah, and actually, it was interesting because once I started looking at it, I realised I didn't really know the United States intimately, not really. So I did a whole load of trips by myself, like road trips, because I needed to get to know it and also make an intimate, make a connection with it. So I did a whole bunch of trips. I haven't done completely every state, but I've done across the south, down the east, down the middle, down for. I started off by doing sort of the west, and that's very dramatic. And when I talked to the crews, they just told me that everywhere they went was really flat. So then I started doing the east and Texas, and actually it's quite interesting when you're traveling by yourself in those places, and it is really open and really flat for just endlessly. It does have an impact on how you feel. And I had some quite difficult times, actually, by myself traveling and being in all that sort of open wilderness. And it did make me think about what it was like to, be on these crews where, you're doing door to door and then you're traveling. And they would say that they would spend so much time on the van, and they would be looking out at just this kind of empty, beautiful, and it changes. We did the Midwest, which is pretty flat all the way up. We went from Oklahoma up to North Dakota, but it does gently change as you go up. Actually, if you're really looking, but it's quite an experience to travel thousands. We did 12,000 miles together.
Where we were going.
Yeah, they didn't know where they were going because I wouldn't tell them where we were going. So I would literally say to them, pack up, we're leaving tomorrow, and they wouldn't know where we were heading.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lars kept telling us we were going to California, and that was not the case at all.
No. We need to keep them on their toes.
Yeah.
We used to huddle together and be like, "Yo, where do we think we're going?
We'd go up to
I
the
think we're going up."
Go ask the big truckers where we were going. They tell us.
Question over there.
This is
This is a question for Andrea, Arnold. My name's Deborah Cole from Agence France Presse. Your film deals with a lot of issues, but one of them is disparity of wealth and the lack of opportunities for young people. And given how much you travel in the United States, it would interest me your perspective as a Brit right now, this election campaign that is trying to provide answers to these questions, and they're so extreme, and whether you form some impressions while you were in America. And the second brief question is, for you as a filmmaker, a British filmmaker, how Brexit could possibly impact your opportunities to get financing and get your films made.
Say again, the second question?
So how a Brexit could possibly influence Britain leaving the European Union, how that could influence your opportunities to get financing and get your films made.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. And then the first question?
The first question. Well, I mean, on my trips and things, I got to see an awful lot of America, and I think I formed an awful lot of... I think the film is a little mix. It's a mix of what I grew up with, the America that I grew up with, which I mostly saw through Hollywood. You know, Little House on the Prairie and cowboys and these things. It's a mix of that, which was my sort of romanticized idea of it, and a mixture of actually the contemporary America that I saw when I did my trips. And I think in the film, I sort of thought, I got to see an awful lot as I was traveling. And I was quite sort of, I got quite upset about some of the towns I went to, some of the poverty I saw, and it seemed really different to me than in the UK. You know, because when people don't have money, they can't get healthcare, and they can't get, do things like go to the dentist and stuff like that. And those kind of things really shocked me. There was a time when we were, and the drugs as well. That was another thing that I found really interesting, is that everywhere we went, especially I guess we were we spent quite a lot of time as well looking for the cast. So we were going to places looking for lots of young people. So I guess I was immersed in a sort of, in that world, in the young world, if you like. But there was one time we were in West Virginia in a tiny town, and this town had like a drugstore. It had like a dollar store, a funeral director's, which was flourishing, and about 3 drugstores, pharmacies, in a tiny, tiny town. And I thought, wow, 3 pharmacies in a tiny town, that's really interesting. And then we went into one pharmacy, and in one pharmacy, there were like 5 people behind the counter doing prescriptions. And I found that, I just like, I don't know, in the UK, you go into Boots, and there's like one guy behind there, you know, doing the prescriptions. So I found that quite interesting. And I asked them what were they dishing out, and they said they were dishing out painkillers to older people and antidepressants to young people, and it was a tiny, tiny town, and they said there was a lot of addiction to both those things in that town. Those are the kind of things that I found. I don't know if I answered your question, but anyway, sort of rambled on a bit.
Question over there. Go ahead.
Hi, Brian Johnson from Maclean's Magazine in Canada. A question for Andrea. Arnold, in scrambling to find corollaries for the poetic, fluid style of this film, people will be mentioning everybody from Larry Clark and Harmony Korine to Terrence Malick, all of them male directors. As one of 3 women with films in competition, I'm just wondering who your influences are in this film, and particularly in terms of the style, and is it useful to talk about the male gaze, the female gaze, when it comes to directing films?
People ask me a lot about my influences on each film, but I have this real strange thing. When I'm making a film, I don't want to watch other films. I want to kind of find my own way. So I actually deliberately do not look at other films. And I take a lot of my inspiration, most of my inspiration for each film, based on the world that I'm exploring. So I will go into the world. I sort of do a lot of sort of research and sort of immersing myself in the places and with the people that I'm going to be making the film about. And that's where I get, that's absolutely where I get my inspiration from. I find real life and real people really inspiring. So that's absolutely where I go to. I and when Robbie and I talk, we didn't look at much this time, did we? But
no. Well, we sort of have a short hand, yeah.
But in the past, we might look at photographs or something, and we don't say, oh, we're going to make it look like that film or like that film, or I try and find my own way. I try and find my own voice, which, you know, is... Oh.
Question over there.
Kyle Buchanan.
It's on.
Kyle Buchanan, New York Magazine. The film's got a terrific soundtrack, and the centerpiece has got to be "We Found Love." So, Andrea, I wondered if you could talk about what it was about that song that made you key into it and how you got it. And Shia, could you talk about the experience of dancing to it in Kmart?
It's so weird. I don't know. That song's got quite a personal history for me, which probably I'm not going to go into. But it reflects. I think it reflects the year when I started thinking and writing this, and it reflects sort of something about something that was going on in my life, and so it meant a lot to me at the time. And I love it. I love Rihanna. I'm a big Rihanna fan. Gotta work. I love that song. I do. I love Rihanna. I didn't actually know that we would get it. I wrote to Rihanna. I love writing Dear Rihanna. I just liked it. I wanted to do Dear Rihanna. Love, Andrea. I wrote her a letter. I had to write a few letters for some of the songs, actually, trying to explain what I was trying to do and why it meant something to me. And we got it, which was fantastic. What was it like dancing to it? You didn't like it, did you?
No. That was like day one of shooting, and we had just gone through I had just landed at the motels, and we had just gone through like the alpha male, figuring out the alpha male thing. So it was very awkward amongst the boys in the group, and so right on that first day, everybody was really like. You know, everybody was alpha mailing around the set, and she's like, hey, I need you to body roll to Rihanna right now in front of everybody. And it was a little awkward.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
No.
More about the music in the film, the choice of songs. There's an inordinate number of songs in the film, which must have been quite expensive, but that's beside the point.
Well, it wasn't necessarily expensive. It was expensive, but it was the challenging thing with Andrea, which is the amazing thing too, is that we had to clear all the songs before shooting, while shooting, because she wanted the experience of the music in the movie as they were listening to it, and that's not normally done that way. So.
No, but to be more specific about the choice of the songs and where you would place them, could you just elaborate on that, Andrea?
Some of that was written into the script. I was quite specific from the beginning. I mean, things changed because we couldn't get something, and when we were out, these guys were listening to slightly different things, and I would then try and like the Choices song E40, for example, which is fantastic. Who introduced what you?
That was this guy.
She's got that tattooed on her arm, I think.
They both do.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, the gates.
So it changed as we were going along. It was an evolving process, but some of it was written into the script, and some changed and evolved, and there is a lot of music, but it's the truth of the Macros. They just listen to lots of music, so I wanted to reflect that truth. I'm sure it's kind of it might be a little annoying for an audience, but actually it's kind of truthful.
No, I didn't say it was annoying.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, but...
No, I just said there was an inordinate number of songs, and it must have been very difficult to get the rights to them, and to choose them and place them in the right way.
Yeah.
What was right for you?
Yeah. Well, I try to use the songs they use as a kind of soundtrack, so they have to work on two levels. They have to work as being truthful to the scene, but then they have to work also as a kind of emotional backdrop as well. So I try to do that.
Did any of you guys ever tell her, we would never listen?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, Rihanna wasn't popular.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That was funny when you asked that.
Question here.
Carlos Segura from La Nación Costa Rica. My question is for Andrea Arnold. It's known that working with little kids it's really difficult, and I was wondering if you have any specific way to work with them, and if you can tell something about it.
You mean the tiny ones in the film? Yeah. I think it's large. I mean, I think it's largely casting on some level. If you get kids that are quite natural and quite kind of comfortable in their own skin, then they'll be easy to work with. And I try and do a mix. I mean, I try and do this in what I do generally anyway, which is kind of sort of lightly control things, but also leave people to be quite free. So I'm always trying to balance that thing, because I want people to feel relaxed and natural and comfortable. And it's the same with the little ones. It's and you know, I'm often off camera talking to them, and you know, and each little kid is going to be different, so they need different things depending on who they are. You always have to work with whoever they are. You know, some like you to encourage them, some don't. You know, it just depends. It's a different thing each time. But I think casting is hugely important.
Question over there.
Hello, it's Catherine Shord from The Guardian. Congratulations on the film. Sorry, congratulations on the film. It's a question for Andrea. It's further to the question that was asked a bit earlier. Did making it make you feel that opportunities for young people without a lot of money are greater in the UK or in the US? And also what you were saying about how the physical landscape can affect how you're feeling. Does it actually broaden horizons, or is that just, does it not?
What do you mean? Sorry, the last bit?
Well, if you're in a huge Midwestern plain,
yeah,
do your emotional and horizons broaden rather than if you're in a smaller place?
You mean me or people? Anyone? Me? Other people.
Both.
Well, you know, in some of the towns that I went to, you know, a lot of. There's a lot of chains in a lot of the towns, and it seemed to me that in small towns there's not a lot of industry or opportunities if you're coming out of school and you need to work. And it felt like to me, based on everyone I met and talked to who were in the sort of ballpark for this film, a lot of their opportunities were working in fast food restaurants. That was like, well, Ray and Verronikah, and you can what's opportunities like for working where you live in Panama, right? So that's a city, it's different. Yeah. But in some of the smaller towns, there seemed to be, the fast food restaurants was like seemed to be one of the main things that you could do. And I mean, that seemed like sad to me.
Do you want to add something? You want to comment on that? No, you don't.
Do you want to say anything? Ray? Do you want to say anything, Ray?
Yeah, like where I'm from, like West Virginia, like they just shut down all the coal miners. So there's a lot of people back in my state that's out of a job. Like I think it was like 150,000 people. And there it's like really bad and people are addicted to drugs and stuff. So there's really not much to do anyways but fast food. Like people are going in and out of school. That's exactly where they go, like McDonald's and stupid stuff like that. And there's really not much opportunity to do that. So it's really hard being there.
Hi, Baz Bamiboy from the Daily Mail. Congratulations, it's a great movie, Andrea. I'm interested in hearing from Shia, hi, and from Sasha. Shia, you did some sort of research before you started shooting. You went around America. Tell me what you found out about your country. And Sasha, I'm interested in you, because you're great in the movie. And, by the way, so you, Riley. But I know nothing about you, so can you tell us about yourselves? But I want to know, Shia, what you discovered about your country in making this film. Thanks.
Yeah, I wasn't really looking for like that's really that's big. You know, I was going for details. So I found a little group and then just went up the Pacific Coast for a week. We'd get off, talk to them throughout, but nothing like what we built here. And it was two different families. I saw the hierarchies of the group, how the money comes in, how the money goes out, who handles what a pitch sounds like, how long they need to be, just the technicalities of doing this gig, what the manager does, what's for sale, all that.
But did you find anything, because the thing is, the film taps into what, however odious he is, Donald Trump is saying about your country.
Right.
That there's a white underclass.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Oh man, yeah, this is not new information to me, so it's not like I discovered that, you know. In Bakersfield, where my father lived for a stint, you know, the only thing there is a prison. You know, so everybody works at the prison. I mean, you know, yeah, that's not new information. I'm part of that underclass. You know, that's where I come from, so I know about it. Yeah, my research was about technical stuff.
Sasha?
You're asking what about me? Who am I? What I drink? Everything. Water. I'm from Texas, and I don't know. I just kind of go with the flow because nothing really sticks in my head unless I feel for it. So I just kind of float. I'm a pretty much floater. I think that's why I got this, because I'm just down, you know, if I feel the vibe. I felt Andrea's vibe. And so I was just like, cool, man, like, let's do it. And that's pretty much like all you gotta really know is just, I feel your energy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's good energy. You seem sweet.
Question over there.
Hi, Eugene Hernandez from Film Comment. I wonder if, this question is for Andrea and Sasha, I wonder if each of you could share your perspectives on the very first time you met.
Oh. What was it like?
You should go.
You go.
Say that. Well, I was.
Yeah. Do it.
She just came up to me. I was chilling on the beach, you know, spring break, and she just seemed like really nice. She was just like smiley and stuff like that, and I just didn't really know what she was talking about. She was talking about a movie, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. But I don't know, she was like in her overalls, and she was smiling, and I was like really happy that day. And so I was just like, oh, she seems so sweet. She had such a good vibe about her. And but the biggest thing about meeting Andrea, I remember, is just walking down the beach with her down the pier, and I just like had this feeling, and I was like, I feel so whole. And I was just so happy to have met her. Like, I knew that she was someone important and that she would take care of me. Like, this wasn't going to be a porn scam.
It is difficult when you're approaching people, actually. They
On the
don't,
beach.
they don't always believe you. And I think I get the feeling on spring break you get lots of, do you get porn directors down there?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of suspicion when you go up to people, because I think you do get people looking for gut. I don't know. I kind of got the feeling that, anyway. So I saw Sasha on the beach and talked to you a little bit and you know, told her a bit about what was going on, and we had a meeting in Waffle House where I told her a bit more about what was going on. Was that Waffle House before or after we came to your hotel?
Waffle House was after. That was the day I got in your car.
Oh yeah. So I came to your hotel, we did a little audition in the foyer of the hotel with your friends. And they were all like in bed because it was spring break and they were all tired, weren't they? And then we met in Waffle House, talked about it a little bit more, and then Sasha stayed. She was about to go home, and I asked her if she would stay a little bit longer so that we could do a bit more auditioning. And then I took her to meet Verronikah, so they could do a little improvisation together. And we went to see you, didn't we? And then we did something together. And you met, and then you went back and told your parents, and they thought, no,
yeah,
you're not going to write. They were worried that it was going to be something.
Yeah, they just thought I was crazy, because it's really hard to be like, Mom, she has a really good vibe about her. Like, they're not going to like trust that. So that was a difficult one, but we did it. You know?
I spoke to your mum, didn't I?
I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
Gosh, it's such a long time ago now, feels
I know.
like. But yeah, that's kind of round about it. And then what happened? Then you did it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like 2 weeks before we started filming, anyway, wasn't it?
No, it was like a month. And
Oh,
I
was
had
it a
to push
month?
my
Yeah.
school up.
So it wasn't long before we started. Yeah. And then it turned out to be true.
Yeah. It's not porn.
Question over here.
Frédéric Rougeau, lemaxcinema.fr. Une question en français.
A question in French for Andrea.
Un instant que tout le monde ait son casque.
Sorry.
Allez-y.
How far is the micro society made by all of these actors? How did it represent the American dream?
Okay. To what extent does the sort of microcosm that is represented here is actually, if at all, an embodiment of the American dream?
Say again, sorry.
Okay. Pardon. To what extent the group, as represented here and in the film, is actually an embodiment or an incarnation of the American dream?
To what extent? Well, I think on some level, the Mag Crew on the bus selling is a small potted version of the American dream. It's their, they're trying to make their version of the American dream. They're trying to make a living for themselves, and they're, working hard at selling themselves, which is, what capitalism is all about, right? So, yeah.
Okay. Question here.
Hello. Jack Mulvin from The Times. Hi. Andrea, you mentioned earlier that when you're on your road trips, you had some difficult times, and I didn't know if you meant encounters with people and things or just being on your own. Could you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, I don't know how personal I'm going to get here, but yeah, I mean, being on my own, I think, was quite interesting in being in those big open spaces, and yeah, and I was trying to stay in all the kind of motels and that the Mag Crew would stay in. So I was staying in some, well, I love those motels, so I actually loved them. But it was quite solitary at times. And, one time I was driving across the south and it started storming. And I actually thought, God, this is a really big storm. And then there were like tornado warnings on the radio. And I thought, oh, this is a really big storm. And they were telling me to get off the road. And I was just completely by myself. And it was in Alabama, and there were, in the horizon, there were, things like that are pretty scary if you're by yourself. And I asked the lady at the next motel, what do I do if I said, what if I'm in the car and I see a tornado? And she said, honey, get out the car and get in a ditch. And I said, what happens if a tornado comes and I'm in the hotel? And she said, honey, get in the bathroom and shut the door. And I said, what? I think I'd quite like to see a tornado. She said, honey, you do not want to see a tornado. But so I had tornado lessons, when I was... But, yeah. I mean, driving through tornadoes by yourself is... God, I make it sound so much more dramatic. I mean, it was, it was quite dramatic, but... it was times like that I was thinking, yeah... But I had Rihanna on the radio. I was singing it large. Bad bitches.
We'll take one last question. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, I'm Neil Smith from the BBC News website. Shia, I was curious as to what aspects of your personality and character you saw in Jake, and also what gives you the confidence to take on your next role of John McEnroe.
Yeah, he is me. Jake is me, and so is McEnroe. That's it, man.
Can you play tennis?
I mean, I know I can't, but yeah, I understand these people. I empathize with them. I get it. These are. It's not. You just turn things up. You turn things down. It's me. I'm getting there.
On that note, I'm afraid our time is up. Thank you all very much for being here.